MK Party MP, Mr. David Skhosana. We're joined by the founder of Public Interest South Africa, Mr. Mkhwanazi, Mkhwanazi MP, Mr. Nhlanhla, joins us via video link. Also alongside him via video link is spokesperson of the South African Police Union, Mr. Lesiba Tobakale. And in studio with us, security strategist, Mr. Andy Mashayile. Gentlemen, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think that certainly quite the interesting day with the shocking allegations. I would like to start with the political parties, if you'd allow me. Mr. Skhosana, the MK Party's position, reaction to what we heard from the KZN Commissioner this morning.
Good evening to all the viewers. I must say that explosive indeed. Though as MK Party, we are not surprised. I sit in the committee. You know, we are dealing daily with the complaints. And I must say that I want to give unwavering support to General Mkhwanazi for what he has told the country today. Unprecedented, I must tell you, unprecedented. You know, that today we know even before that there's rot in the police service in this country. And indeed, it's disappointing to say the least. But this is a test for the president, you know, to see whether he lacks to lead this country, or really he wants to lead this country, because we can't be held at ransom by the liberation movement. You know, the issue now is that when you look at what happened today in the press conference, understanding of what the other people, as I said earlier in my statement around 12, that a lot of people are going to be unleashed against General Mkhwanazi. It was expected. I see now Paul Sullivan, a foreigner for that matter, getting involved again in our matters. No country in this world can have people, you know, baiting to, you know, chase people who are talking the truth. I mean, if this is an alleged, what Mkhwanazi told us is an allegation, but he backed this allegation with evidence. I mean, he has attached that evidence. Now, we as the MK Party have called the chair to call an urgent meeting at the portfolio committee meeting, because our minister, unfortunately, failed us. He misled us. He was economical with the truth. He told us lies in Parliament, under oath for that matter. Now, we need to remember that the executive accounts as well to the portfolio committee.
What are you saying he lied about? Sorry.
No, what I'm saying, we asked about this disbandment as well of this unit. And we're told that, you know, we cannot discuss the matter at the portfolio committee. And that was a concern for most of the members in the portfolio committee. You know, and the issue as well that not long ago, I have raised that on Friday, the issue that one of the crime intelligence boss was arrested, which is a cause for concern in the country. You can't have somebody at that level, a lieutenant general for that matter. As we are saying, you know, the budget for that criminal intelligence is 5 billion rand. Now, if you have that problem at the highest level of the police force, it tells you what is happening on the ground.
Yeah, and that arrest of Khumalo is something that we discussed at great length with Mr. Mashayile quite recently. But let's quickly hear from Mkhwanazi's Nhlanhla. We've heard other political parties talking about the steps that they will be taking. Perhaps you can get into that as we start off. But yeah, the Mkhwanazi's position on what we heard earlier today.
Good evening, Naledi, and good evening to the viewers. Quite an extraordinary Sunday that we've had as a country, where the Commissioner, General Mkhwanazi, made the allegations that he made against the police minister, the Deputy National Commissioner, severe members of parliament, judiciary, and prosecutors. And we take these allegations very seriously. That's why we believe, from our side as Rise Mzansi, that the only person that should be addressing these issues, and I've seen just before I came to this interview that the president has issued a statement. We believe that the president cannot sit this one out, cannot bury his head in the sand. He needs to confront these allegations head on, as they relate to one of the members of his cabinet, who's also a police minister. And I see that he agrees that these are extremely serious allegations that he will address when he gets back from the BRICS Leaders Summit. But also, what we want to see, it's a full-on parliamentary inquiry. The reason we believe, and I know that others have called for a parliamentary debate, these allegations are so serious that the parliamentary debate will not address them. This needs a proper inquiry where people are brought in to answer to some of these allegations.
Yep.
But also, there's an allegation that's made that certain members of parliament are themselves involved in this.
Yep.
And we do hope that we'll get those names so that even when you establish a parliamentary inquiry, you don't end up with a situation that the very same members of parliament that are alleged to be in cahoots with the criminal elements, they form part of that committee.
Yeah.
So that's why we believe that.
Yeah, the question becomes how, at that point, do you decipher who can and cannot be part of the process? We do have other speakers with us, the policing union security strategist, as well as civil society public interest founder joining us. We're going to get more of their reaction on the other side of this. Stay with us. Come back. We continue to get reaction to the briefing that we saw earlier today from the KZN Police Commissioner, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, wherein he made massive allegations of involvement of senior government officials in criminal syndicates. Let's get reaction here in the room. Mr. Mashayile, security strategist, you've worked as an ambassador as well for Interpol. I mean, just how big is this that we heard from the commissioner this morning?
It's very huge, Naledi. It's an existential threat to national security, number one. Number two, it is also an existential threat for the welfare of the very same organization, the South African Policing Department. Three, it is an existential threat for the relationships amongst generals, amongst the leadership. Just below them, you'd have your major generals and your brigadiers. So these four aspects that I've mentioned, summed up in a response shared by the president, saying this is of a very serious national concern. It suggests, Naledi, that this matter be threshed out. Obviously, because the minister is implicated, leadership and advice and many of those things to resolve this situation would need to come from the office of the president, and or the president will have to appoint someone. I don't expect the president to himself to sit around the table. I know very well that he would appoint people, that many people, retired judges, advocates, many of these people who will get to the bottom of this thing without any bias. I'm not even suggesting that the president might be biased. No, I'm just saying for fairness in the eyes of the public, which is the last point that I'm going to make. Point number 5, the trust deficit gap has widened. Today, a lot of people are talking to me saying, so that says to me, people are losing. Today, they have lost confidence. I was just somewhere at your sister station. I learned that 27% of the vote of confidence in the police from a public perception point of view. You can imagine 27% out of the 64.4 million people in this country of ours. So this is a very serious matter.
Yeah, we need to figure out what we do next, and that's going to be the big question. But let's bring in Mr. Thobakgale with the South African Policing Union. I think there's something to be said about how General Mkhwanazi talked about the police minister bringing him together with the Deputy National Commissioner to try and iron things out. And the commissioner going on to say, the KZN commissioner going on to say, a criminal and police cannot be friends. So, I mean, do you have an understanding of some of the things that the provincial commissioner talked about? Have you seen these signs of collusion? Do you perhaps even know some of the individuals that have been named, the likes of, for instance, a Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi, who is an associate of the police minister?
Thank you for having us, Naledi. From our perspective, we are shocked, not surprised, and we are making this very urgent call that the President Cyril Ramaphosa, needs to intervene in this situation. Ordinarily, if there are issues that are involved within the South African Police Service, they would be dealt with internally and not on the media space. I think that as a matter of principle from our side, we stand to clearly support anyone who's making efforts to fight crime, because crime, it is the enemy that South Africa is clearly faced with, and we need to do that. And I mean, as we have seen what has been said through the media briefing today, what is more important to us now is that the intervention of the president as the head of state in this matter, because it is a matter of national security. And any matter of national security must be dealt with accordingly, and it must be dealt with even privately so. And it cannot be left as it is open like it is in this case. And we are also calling, Naledi, to all the parties that are involved to clearly, hold restraint and to really look into all of this matter instead of just responding to the allegations that have been made. Currently, we have allegations that have been made, and in this regard, the matter or the way forward that would assist us in moving forward, it is the intervention of the president. Because remember, the executives are also mentioned in those allegations.
Right.
The judiciary are mentioned in those allegations. Deputy national commissioners are mentioned in those allegations. So for us, what is important for us is that we need to protect national security. We need to protect the national interests, and that on its own, it really needs the head of state, the president. It is unfortunate that he is still at the BRICS summit as we speak, but this matter, it needs his instantaneous respond and him handling it accordingly, so that this situation doesn't get out of control. So we need to always remember the interest of the state, the interest of national security.
Yeah.
Any issue that has to deal with national security, it must be treated as such.
Yeah, Mr. Kass, just, the perspective of the citizen here, as civil society. One moment that stands out was when Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi said, millions of South Africans live in jeopardy. At least I have a gun to protect myself. When asked if he fears for himself. I mean, your reaction on who needs to say what at this point?
Yeah, it is a sad day. Probably for me, it's even sadder than when National Commissioner Jackie Libby was found guilty and sent to jail. And before I proceed, I just need to correct my colleague here, Mr. Skhosana. I hold no brief for Mr. O'Sullivan. He can speak for himself. But he is as much a citizen as you and I. He pays the taxes just as you and I do. He's got every right to comment on the political discourse of the country and do whatever work that he believes would advance his cause and that of the national cause. So let us disabuse ourselves of saying somebody's a foreigner when in fact he's not. And even if he was, I think he's still got a right to do. We do comment about US politics and other things. Having said that, it is indeed also a clarion call. It is a cry for help that we saw, what we saw today. And on behalf of the public, it is a clarion call in the sense that General Mkhwanazi must have reached his tether with regards to the process, because he already said in the press conference, that there was a meeting arranged between him, the Deputy National Commissioner Sibia, and the police minister, including the National Commissioner, who did not participate in the form of saying anything per General Mkhwanazi. That means that the internal process within the SAPS has failed him. And in so doing, it has also failed us as members of the public. Because as you rightly put, if somebody like General Mkhwanazi may feel safer because of the protection he might enjoy, he's got his own protections, an ordinary member of society does not have those protections. Just on my way here, by the way, I got railroad from the freeway by a police officer in a 9111, whatever it is, for no reason, apparent reason, because he just wanted way. And, you know, and what it tells you, the lawlessness has seeped through the system, that they're impervious to the rule of law. And it is very worrisome when you see dog has been dispatched in the manner that actually has been done. Because let us not forget, sometime in February this year, the Ministry of Police held a policing summit whereupon certain commitments were made, but more importantly was to change and improve policing in South Africa. It is very heartbreaking, or rather, you know, heartbreaking when you hear that within the systems, there may still be people who may be an impediment to any improvements to the system to make it work for the people, because it might not suit their political agenda, or it might not be expedient for their own personal ends or means.
Yeah, you know, there's still so many questions. Obviously, there's the allegations made, investigations that need to take place, investigations according to Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi that are ongoing, but still so many gaps. And I'm going to give you an opportunity here, Mr. Skhosana. We tried to find information as much as possible as we could about this Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi that Mkhwanazi has talked about, right? And what we have understood is that there is a Brown Mkhwanazi Foundation that has operated in the Northwest, and notably initiated legal action in the Northwest High Court, urging for a review of provincial government tender for food services, citing concerns over administrative fairness. This is as much as we know. A not-for-profit organization acting in the public interest in the name of the Brown Mkhwanazi Foundation. I don't know if you are able to piece some of that together. But the issue here is the provincial commissioner has talked about people that are not part of the SAPS, not part of the Department of Police, and yet seemingly speaking to Mkhwanazi or to the minister, issuing directives, if you will, in some cases, and leaking sensitive information. Surely that is a big concern.
A big concern, I must say, and I don't want to have a dialogue with my colleague here, but I just want to emphasize once again, Paul O'Sullivan is like any other foreigner in this country, and indeed, all the time is involved in these matters. And as I said in one of the interviews with civil society, they are sponsoring a narrative all the time. But let me, that's a debate for another day.
Yep.
You know, as I said, the party commends Mkhwanazi 100%, and his dedication to his duties and responsibilities. And you know, this will encourage and invoke the spirit of excellence and commitment of men and women in blue. Now, you find, as you said earlier, a civilian, you know, involved in higher ranking officials in the South African police service for his own interest, not for the interest of us. I'll be very frank about that. I sit in that committee. I know exactly what is happening. In April, General Mkhwanazi and the top management of SAPS came to the portfolio committee. He raised these issues, and the disbursement of the task team, the minister refused to answer us on that. Why there was a disbandment. But let me say this to you. The president now must show, this is an ultimate test for President Ramaphosa. He's the head of an executive. We are going back to the time of the late Pravin Kokodan. He must the president must show that he is in charge of this government. It's not the other way around. But I must say that we, as MK Party, we want to reiterate that the party will monitor the development in this matter, will make sure that South African and this administration, the seventh administration, prioritize matters of the society. It's not about the party here. It's not about the ruling party or the so-called GNU. I must tell you now that all the network in South Africa, as you said earlier here, we cannot ignore this damning evidence. We cannot ignore that. I know there'll be a close rank. People want to protect each other on this matter. We should not leave any stone unturned. And the minister and the top management of SAP must account to the portfolio committee. And the president, you know, because there's a thin line, but we are saying, even the president now, we have a portfolio committee where the president, remember, members of the executive account to parliament. And we are parliamentarians. They have to account to us. We cannot be dictated by the so-called Paul O'Sullivan of this world or the civil society. We are elected members of parliament. And if some people want to be there, then they must go and get votes. But for us, we are a law-abiding citizen, and Mkhwanazi, General Mkhwanazi, and the National Commissioner. As I'm saying to you, KwaZulu-Natal, we know what is exactly happening in KwaZulu-Natal. They fear no one. They fear no one in case Mkhwanazi has demonstrated, and we are giving the support as Umkhonto we Sizwe party.
Okay.
My last part in short, if you remember very well, we had Prince Mkhwanazi in 2016. He instigated Paul O'Sullivan, General Mkhwanazi, and McBride. What happened to the case? What happened to the case?
Tell me.
Let me tell you, it was squashed. It depends who you are. And we have the criminal justice when Mkhwanazi was saying here that some members in the judiciary, they were questioning. He mentioned, he said, not everyone in court, but there was a court official who, in fact, was questioning the task team. And that's a concern.
Yeah.
Because we are told the judiciary is independent. But if they are protecting,
And this is the thing about these allegations made by Mkhwanazi, because he lists the different strata of law enforcement. And one of the other assertions or allegations that he put forward earlier today is that it is by the instruction of the police minister that vacancies haven't been filled in the top echelons of intelligence. We're going to look at the implications of that on the other side of this. Stay with us. Welcome back. We continue to get reaction to that briefing that has the country at large talking after the KZN Police Provincial Commissioner shared allegations of a syndicate that involves high-level police officials, government officials, going as far as talking about the involvement of the Deputy National Commissioner, that you see there, and as well as the judiciary, saying prosecutors much a part of this syndicate. We take your calls on this, 010-594-6010. Thabo is calling in from Mkhwanazi. Thabo, good evening.
Evening, how are you?
I'm well, sir. Talk to us. Thanks for calling.
Yes, I was saying that I am a former policeman as well, right? I do believe what the General Mkhwanazi is saying, what he's implicating the minister. You see, the minister does not have powers to disband a unity. And previously, the general did mention that when he asked the national commissioner, General Masimula, about the disbandment of the unit, and General Masimula was not even aware. How can you jump guns, you see, and go and disband the unity, yet the national commissioner, the police, you see, a police official, the head of the police is not aware. There are messages that, WhatsApp messages that General Mkhwanazi was reading.
Yes,
you see, they've downloaded everything. There is a proof, there is a tangible evidence that implicates Minister Senzo Mchunu.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I was saying we are led by the mafias.
Sure. Strong words, Thabo. I need to move on, Thabo, but thank you so much. Your point certainly is made, and these are the concerns that are being raised by so many today. Thabo saying that he's a former policeman, and not surprised by what he heard from the commissioner. I wanted to get into this, and Mr. Mashayile, perhaps you can assist us with this. I made the point that one of the things that the provincial commissioner Mkhwanazi has talked about is the minister's role in ensuring that vacancies are not filled in the upper structures of our intelligence, institutional infrastructure. What do you make of that? Do you believe that allegation, and certainly what an allegation like that, should it be true, actually mean?
Now, lady, the minister would advise the national commissioner let's work on a scenario here. Let's assume that there isn't enough money to get warm bodies into positions. The minister, having it been given a brief by the police management, would say, okay, let's hold on for the next financial year. I don't know of a situation where the minister can say, don't employ people there, even if the budgets for the warm bodies exist. I don't know. If that allegation is tested and it turns out to be true, then it would mean that the one who's charged with the responsibility to make those decisions is not making those decisions. And in this case, it would be the Director General of the department. A National Commissioner is nothing out of the movies. He's simply a Director General who has a Chief of Staff or Chiefs of Staff and many of those things. The Director General, if the minister is making those decisions, it means the minister does not recognize the role, the authority, the function, as well as the conduct and the prescripts that authorizes the Director General of the department to do what a Director General is supposed to do. And if that allegation is tested and it turns out to be true, it would give me a reason to be concerned. But for now, Naledi, that allegation has not been tested, and we have not found an independent mind and spirit and energy that would say, yes, this is what happened. But we need to prepare for futuristic scenarios by ensuring that Director Generals across the departments, Naledi, take responsibility. If it means that you should be fired, then you should be fired for having stood your ground. What I have picked up in the day's events suggests one thing, Naledi, that the Director General either is a soft gentleman and or is an incompetent gentleman and or is a gentleman who has been rendered useless from a decision-making point of view. Having known all of these individuals who are involved, including General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and General Shadrack Sibia and the National Commissioner, I am assuming, based on what I have picked up here, that there must have been a gap in the logic and decision-making process that has led to this fallout that we are seeing.
Yep. I want to bring in Mr. Thobakgale, of course, of the South African Policing Union, and go back to the point that we touched on earlier of these individuals that Mkhwanazi has talked about. And I'm going to read a little bit. He says, his analysis reveals communication between an arrested Vusumuzi Cat Nhlanhla, Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi, an associate of the Minister of Police, as well as the Minister of Police himself, Mr. Senzo Mchunu. Now, these individuals that the commissioner, the provincial commissioner speaks of. I mean, what is your making of just how much infiltration there is from citizens that are not part of of our authorities or government in any way, having close links, according to Mkhwanazi, to all the way up to the police minister? Is that a concern for officers on the ground?
Yeah, like we said, Naledi, the allegations that are made by the PC in this regard are of a serious nature. And that is why we are saying that the president must intervene and to really look at those issues because they affect national security. And further to that, remember the provincial commissioner and also the DNC, they report to the national commissioner. We accept calling for the president to intervene in this matter. We are also calling on the national commissioner, who is the boss of the PC and also the boss of the deputy national commissioner, to also say something, because if he is quiet, then it really becomes worrisome, as he is the national commissioner who's responsible for the overall SAPS, and there's allegations of this nature that you just read and those that we had that were outlined in the media briefing. There is something that we need, that must be heard from the National Commissioner to say, what is it that he is saying? So we really want to hear the voice of the National Commissioner to say, what is his view? What is it that he knows about the allegations that are made? But we still maintain our principle to say those are issues of national security, which indeed threatens the integrity and also the security of the country, and they need to be looked into seriously so.
Yeah. Mr. Ghana, what do you foresee taking place moving forward? I mean, we did see today the police minister essentially saying that he hasn't really been able to see this full briefing and that he will take the time to consider it. And there's a sense that there still is going to be a response. But are you foreseeing, and I'm talking now about a worst case scenario, where you have two very powerful individuals in the policing structures possibly having a tennis style back and forth?
We hope the back and forth, the intervention of the president will put a bit of a lead on that. Especially it's not a good thing when you see senior police officers that should primarily concern themselves with keeping South Africans safe, trading blows. It's not good. It's not a good sight. So one of the things that we expect from the president and also General Fani Masimula, it's to bring everyone to understand that no, this trading of blows in the public is not assisting anyone. The only people that are happy this evening are the criminals, are the people that wake up every morning to disrupt the lives of South Africans. Those are the ones that are celebrating tonight because they have seen since the morning that the police are at war with themselves. And what I said on Friday is that these fights that we are seeing in the police, they are not the fight to keep South Africans safe. In the main, these fights we are seeing in the police are the fights for access to money, access to resources, and they need to be brought to a halt so that every man and woman in blue, in uniform, their primary focus must be protecting South Africans and the properties belonging to South Africans, and not bickering in the public, not doing what they are employed to do. So that's why we would like to see the president, but also the National Commissioner, taking action very swiftly to ensure that the trust that South Africans have placed on him, South Africans have placed on the police service, it's returned, and the men and women in blue focus on the task of keeping South Africans safe. That's all that South Africans want. It's not such a hard thing to demand from the South African police service, because at this present moment, we are not safe. When the police are fighting themselves, the only people that are rejoicing are criminals.
Okay.
And we cannot have a situation where criminals are rejoicing.
Okay. Can you believe it? We're almost at that point where I want to get final thoughts from each and every one of you. And so take this opportunity, please, to perhaps close off some of your thinking on what needs to happen next. Mr. Kass, I'll let you go first as we shut it down. I mean, one of the things that you mentioned during the ad break is that this is not, these are not victimless allegations, and I'd like for you to unpack that for the viewers. But my closing question to you is, the police minister, should he stay in his position? What needs to happen with him? What needs to happen with the DNC? What needs to happen with the KZN provincial commissioner?
Yeah, unfortunately, we live in a country where the presumption of innocence seems to dictate people's position in terms of the moral obligation. Because stepping aside would not necessarily mean that you are guilty of anything, but it is just to allow the processes. So if I was advisor to the minister, which I'm not, I would whisper in his ear that maybe you should take a back seat and let the processes take them, take care of these allegations, and you'll probably be exonerated if there's nothing to be fearful of. But we live in a country where the presumption of innocence seems to be key. But as you say about victimless, this is not a victimless omission or lapses in judgment or maladministration. Today we just buried Mkhwanazi, one of the senior auditors at Ekurhuleni, City of Ekurhuleni. It is because of intelligence failure that today nobody has been arrested. Nobody's any wiser as to what. It's all speculation that it just related to the work that he was doing. He was about to press charges and all that. But even before Mkhwanazi, we had Babita Tiokaran, also in the same environment, Ekurhuleni City, murdered. And till today, we still don't know who the masterminds are or what is the, and we still found the same names propping in one tender, corrupt tender into the other. The skinny jeans and the other related things at the healthcare, now even in subs, that there's also procurement, and you ask yourself, where is intelligence when you really need? Because some of these things could actually be stopped because there are lives lost, never mind the fiscus being depleted of resources. So it is a worrisome, but what encourages me, it's a parting shot, what encouraged me most is that I have observed consciously that within the policing system, there is a real commitment to change. There's a real commitment to see things happen. And maybe I'm an eternal optimist, but I sincerely believe that's going to happen. But it's not going to be an easy task, given what we've just heard today in terms of the implications of others within the system itself.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Mr. Skhosana, what needs to happen now? Your confidence in the police minister holding on to his position, your confidence in the DNC, what needs to happen next with the General Mkhwanazi? In the interest, let me just correct quickly. When I said Prince Mkhwanazi opened a case against O'Sullivan, General Sibiya, and McBride, it was not against Mkhwanazi. I just wanted to clear that in. Umkhonto Wesizwe is very clear on this matter. In the interest of safety and security of our nation, the MK party calls upon General Mkhwanazi to lay criminal charges against the minister and General Sibiya, as I'm speaking here, within the next 24 hours. Subsequent to this, the MK party also demands an immediate arrest of the police minister. Because if you look at this, based on the prima facie evidence which General Mkhwanazi has given us today and the nation, it is beyond reasonable doubt that that has to happen. This is not a political appeal to the president. The president must do a right thing. It's a direct demand to the law enforcement to do the right thing without a delay. Apologies. When you say arrest the minister, what charge? I'm saying to you, let me be clear to you for you to understand what I'm doing about. Remember, what the prima facie evidence which were given by General Mkhwanazi is that he attached all the evidence in his statement. It's simple. Defeating the end of justice. Okay. And I just want to contextualize this by saying no one is above the law. Together, let's champion the free from deception, violence, striving for society which will reflect the truth and build this nation. We cannot have at the top echelons of South African Police Service, we have the rot there. Because this thing doesn't come from a junior official. It's coming from a provincial commissioner, a lieutenant general for that matter, who once acted as a national commissioner in this country. Right. And he was removed wrongly so. But thank you so much. All right, I do want to get closing thoughts from our other three speakers, but we've got a caller. Zeblon is called in from Umkhanya. Mr. Zeblon, good evening. Thank you so much for calling. Talk to us.
Good evening, Naledi. Naledi, the people you are having in the studio, they are not assisting us who are watching TV to try and get to understand what type of the cases are they talking about. Here is what I want the people to look at. One, Dumisani Khumalo was... can you hear me, Naledi? I'm listening to you, yes. Zeblad, go ahead. Dumisani Khumalo and the co-accused were arrested from the crime intelligence. Mkhwanazi, in his press conference today, he said he works under Dumisani Khumalo. They've been together with General Masemola. Two, why did Mkhwanazi refuse to take all the case documents that were supposed to be given to him by Sibiya? And he said he doesn't want them in his office. That's questionable. Three, why did Mkhwanazi has to continue with the task team after it was disbanded? Okay. Was that not illegal? If he was operating, how sure are we that those people were taken to Gauteng to go and do that work? Lastly, Mkhwanazi, Masemola should be suspended for being the rock people inside the South African police services. The issue of the minister, it must be dealt with by the president.
Okay.
But before the president deals with the minister, he must suspend all of them. Maybe they've got something to do with the slush fund. They can't fight like this and fight like this is maybe they are fighting to fight crime in South Africa.
All right.
While it looks like this is the crime intelligence.
Okay, Zebulon, thank you so much. Yeah, and he did General Mkhwanazi ending off there by saying that the political killings task team remains operational, albeit attempts to disrupt its work. And this is, he says, to protect and serve the inhabitants of the Republic. Mr. Mashaile, what do we hold on? Your confidence that you still have, I think, in the police minister, in the DNC, and the Provincial Commission of Kids.
Now, lady, we are all innocent until proven guilty, number one. Number two, I would, as the minister, step aside, give investigation and give confidence to the people in this country and in this room. Number three, there is no shred of evidence that General Sibiya willy-nilly jumped over so and so. He was instructed. So I know of a situation where some people were instructed in Gauteng to escort the Guptas. They went up to as far as the border. And the general that issued out the instruction, when they were supposed to suspend those who were driving the cars, he said, I issued out an instruction. I'm just bringing in the mentality in the policing work. What would have happened if General Sibiya did not take the instructions of the minister? So in all fairness, you don't beat on the grass to startle the snakes. And the grass in this case becomes Sibiya to get people out of the grass so that we can then be able to find out what is going on. Sibiya has clearly in his response, as I listened, he has said, I took instructions. I am assuming that the people of this country wanted to see what they don't want to see. The people of this country are saying, you should have said no. And in this instance, the very same people are saying, this is supposed to go on. What General Mkhwanazi has said must carry sway and carries water. So long story short, General Sibiya must be seen in the context of being a person who's instructed. Whoever instructed the Deputy National Commissioner must come out and give reasons. Why did you instruct this one and not the Director General?
I need to quickly get closing thoughts from our other speakers. Mr. Ghana, your confidence still in the police minister as well as the DNC and perhaps even General Mkhwanazi?
So at this moment, my confidence on all these people that are fighting right now, it's very low because they are not focusing on the things that needs to be done. The mistake that we can make in this whole thing is to assume that others are too innocent or others are too guilty. That's why we are calling for a proper inquiry so that we can get to the bottom of this. The frustrations that South Africans have, it's with the high levels of crime and criminality. And that's what everyone in the police must be focusing on.
Yeah.
These bickering and fights are taking us nowhere. And we know, and I've said this, and as a last thing, we need to, as a matter of urgency, institute lifestyle audits on everyone involved with procurement at the South African police. The root of all these fights, it starts with supply chain and procurement. All of these fights start there, and that's where we need to clean the road from.
Great. Mr. Thobakgale, your final thoughts. It is your members that are now, as they continue to do their work, looked at by South Africans and thinking, what is going on at the top of, who you report to? And, I mean, do you, as SAPU, still want to see the police minister in that position, the DNC, and even the provincial commissioner?
It is our principle that everyone is innocent up until proven guilty. By so saying, I think it is important that we must point out that SAPU previously wrote letters to the president to really intervene on a lot of issues that included crime intelligence, that also when we looked at national commissioners not finishing their terms, but unfortunately there was no response in regards to that. Now the country needs to clearly focus on the enemy that we are faced with, which is crime. And we want to send out this message to all our members on the ground, all police officers, to say that they need to continue focusing on fighting crime, because the only enemy that they have taken the oath to fight against, it is crime that is terrorizing.
I need to step in because I get the sense that you're running away from my question, and I'm going to push one last time. Do you hold confidence still, as the South African Police Union, in the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu?
No, like we said, there's allegations that are there. Nothing has been proven. That is why we subscribe to a principle of innocent until proven guilty. Okay,
you wanted to one last word. Go ahead.
My last word is that we know that the universal principle is that we are innocent until proven guilty. But it depends who you are. Sometimes, there's a lot of people who are saying different things. It applies to others. Others, it doesn't apply. But I'm saying my last parting shot. We are very, very, very clear. We are not crucifying anybody, but we are saying, as Umkhonto Wesizwe Party, General Mkhwanazi is within his right to go and open lay charges against the minister and General Sibiya. We are not saying they are guilty, but like anybody else, we are all equal before the law. Thank you.
Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in studio, and thank you so much for making time after what has been a day that has got South Africans really, really shocked and surprised. Thank you so much to Mr. Nhlanhla of Rise Mzansi, also a member of the Police Portfolio Committee. Thank you as well to Mr. Lesiba Tobakale, spokesperson of the South African Police Union. In studio, Mr. Andy Mashaile, security strategist, Mr. David Skhosana, MK Party MP, and Mr. Nhlanhla, who is a public interest SA founder and chairman. You're still watching Newsfeed PM.